Good morning. In this video, I want to deal with some contemporary events and discuss them in light of what the Bible teaches. It's going to set up in the last days and people being deceiving and being deceived. And when after the rapture happens and the Antichrist shows up, the people who are being deceived will have no excuse. Because one book, the Bible, predicted all this. Showed how it was going to happen. And of course, the mockers will always ignore this. The mockers will always ignore it because they don't want to see the truth. And so you had cases like, people deny the fact that Christ could be seen, every part of the world when he comes back. And people say, how could that happen? Then, of course, we got satellites. And then you've got the issue of Israel back in the land. How could that happen 100 years ago, 200 years ago, 150 years ago? People say, nah, that can never happen. It's impossible. Then Israel controlling Jerusalem? Never happened. Never happened. Now, the issue of the imminency of the rapture means that there's no prophetic events that have to happen for the rapture. And these aren't prophetic events per se. They're just setting the stage. And the generation that sees these things and surviving into them, then we don't know when the rapture is going to happen. It could happen today or tomorrow. But the fact is, what the people involved can see now, can't deny. When the Bible is read and they say, this is going to happen, this is going to happen, this can happen, this is all, this is going to happen, all these things are going to happen, and people will deny it based on they don't have we can't see how that could happen. We don't see how that can happen. And now they can see how it can happen. so that's it's laying down more truth to the unbeliever. So when events do happen, like as the rapture happens and the Antichrist rises, they'll remember. This is all predicted somewhere. 666. The vaccine isn't a mark. Let's read the Revelation 13:16, and he caused all, talking about the Antichrist, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. Again, the vaccine thing is not demanding that, but it's setting the precedent. And that no man might buy or sell. So we have the combination of the excuse using the virus, where it's never before where governments have locked up people, the healthy people. They would separate the people from the healthy people. But they don't lock up all the healthy people. Lockdown. You're under house arrest, basically. I have to protect you. Save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. So, when we read that there, what do we see? We see more evidence. We see what's going on today, and the countries being shut down, and vaccine passports, and the NFL trying to shame people, who didn't take the vaccine versus those who did take the vaccine, which sounds like, Nazi Germany. Well, the Jews had to wear a mark. They had to wear Star of David. The fact that people would even propose this is mind-boggling. Mind-boggling. But we're seeing the groundwork laid out. And so when people bring up the vaccine now, tell them, show them that, well, this is, this, we see now how it can happen. We see exactly nations are going to do it, how nations could do it. And now the next step would be having a mark to buy and sell. That's where all the corporations, by the way, Larkin predicted the end times to be an issue of corporatism, which is fascism. Corporations linking up with governments. And what we have here, the corporations will demand proof, have the mark before it can work. So they won't be able to buy or sell. and they'll join in with the government, who will demand it, the Antichrist government. So this is an opportunity for witnessing. People bring up the issue, contemporary issue. Just I know a book that shows something just like this. It tells you, no one would imagine this. That entire nation, or all the nations would agree to lock down their people. And then make them wear masks, which have no effect. They look at the data. They're just placebos. Masks. But bureaucrats always make the idea is they have to cover themselves, so they always make sure you do something. See, and that's the bureaucracies and corporations. They cover themselves. Oh, they don't want to say, well, someone didn't wear a mask and therefore someone died and they get sued. No, they want to take the safe route, just have everybody wear a mask. It doesn't matter if it works or not, which is unconstitutional. But that will eventually be worked out as it goes up to courts, and the issue of forcing someone to take something, put it in your body, that would be another issue. But this is a witnessing tool. And you can show people, say, the vaccine isn't the mark. But you see the vaccine and the lockdowns and combination where they can lock you down and then force you to take a mark is a precedent. And it's all being done with smoke and mirrors. CDC, smoke and mirrors. And that's what the Antichrist will use. Smoke and mirrors, deception. And what they also appeal to force, appeal to authority. Which is not supposed to happen. It's them being ruled and being led. Always keep that in mind. Free people are led by our leaders. We're not ruled. Our leaders have taken on the idea they can rule us with mandatory masks and mandatory vaccines. That is tyranny. But it's going to wear off eventually. This thing by and these tyrants will pay in the voting booth. That's why they know their time is short. They know. In the American system, we have a 2-year. We can get their time's going to run after 2 years. And the other systems, like in Britain, since the Tory government is in charge, no different than the Labour government in terms of tyranny. Very, very disappointing with Boris. Very disappointing. He's a man who wrote a book on Churchill. But they're too scared. He's not a leader. He's too scared to make the right decisions. And so he just makes his people pay. But they have, because the Tories are controlling the government now, and they have 5 years, and my British friends can correct me if I'm wrong in this, they basically can do what they want for the next 5 years. This is some type of way of they force an election, early election. But usually it's the government, the party in power that calls the early election because they think they have a dominant chance for a dominant win. But the point is, it's an opportunity to look at it when people are talking about or opening eyes to the idea of the tyranny of this, the marks, the vaccines, the shutdowns, lockdowns, the constant swinging back and forth about what is truth, the destruction of economies, division between essential and non-essential businesses. Who defines that? Who defines that? But of course, what does that do? The bigger businesses are essential, the small businesses aren't. they're expendable. Their competitors, the bigger business. So what do? You shut them down, lock them down. But as a Christian, look at it now. This is an exciting time because you got to open as a book and go to Revelation 13, 16, 17. And that's not the, one of the person getting saved because of that. But a person might look and say, "Wow, this Bible," the unbeliever will say, "Yeah, it's showing something." It's showing something there. Look at that. Explain that this is a precedent, and lead the person further into the truth, into the gospel, and get them saved, or maybe someone in a post-millennial belief system and whatever, and can correct them. Because there are a lot of people getting this, well, how can that happen? How can that happen? And people are also afraid that the vaccine is a mark, so you can correct them on that, because you need to tell them, say, no, it's not the mark, it's not the mark. So taking it is not a sin or anything like that. It's your own volition. You want to take it. But the fact is that you can show them, that where it's going. The precedent thing, which will reinforce the idea of so you say, look, first the rapture has to happen, then the Antichrist shows up. So you need to let them know, because a lot of these people aren't informed of eschatological events in the order. They've been duped by post-millennialists. And so you can explain to them, no, church is still here. This is not the end. This is not the mark. The mark is discussed here in Revelation 13, 16, 17, taking the mark and where it's taken. But this is the precedent for it. So I'm going to stop here and put this up. I got some more stuff to put up. I apologize for my sporadic videos of late. I've been dealing with hip problems. So I'm scheduled for hip surgery in a couple weeks, and we'll take care of that. The issue of I've been taking painkillers, and they make me very lethargic. It's just like, so I'm weaning myself off them, and I don't need them after the surgery, which is be good. So I appreciate all your prayers, and I thank you for them, and I'm constantly being blessed, despite what my enemies think. These people. I saw John Cragen, where Jason reviewed that video. That is one of the funniest videos I've ever seen. John Cragen. I think his name John Keegan, or was John Cragen. I don't know. That little kid. I was looking forward for Frank's video on that. He's going to go over those videos. It was very funny. He pulled it out. I like to have seen that. But the kid is just out there. He just, I'll have to review that video by Jason and what he says. The kid actually thinks that science, falsely so-called, is dealing with the scientific method. He goes on and says, "Oh no, if they say it's science, falsely so-called, all these studies that I've shown you that prove that interracial marriage is unhealthy, they have scientific validation because they're reviewed by their peers." God isn't talking about scientific method. He's talking about what the truth is. What the truth is, not the scientific method. So don't let Frank say that, all these other guys say that it's science falsely so-called, because they have peer review that, Frank didn't see, didn't say, and everything. It's still not science. Science is what God says science is, which means it has to be true. Doesn't mean that it doesn't have peer review. Funny kid, finish rights. And then he says, "Frank talks like me." What? No one talks like me. No one, which is a good thing. Then hopefully, and then don't copy my talking style, speaking style. Most people can't even understand the accent. But I'll let you go here, and appreciate everything again, and I'll put some more videos up soon. Amen. Thank you.